Tax day is usually April 15th. This year, the 15th falls on a Saturday, so the kind IRS is giving us until Monday, April 17th, to mail our taxes. And for some of us, those 2 extra days, just not enough. Our next guest might be able to help. David Silverman is a tax columnist and contributing editor to Smart Money magazine. He's also the author of the recently published book, Taxes for Dummies. That includes many of us. Mr. Silverman joins us from our New York bureau. Welcome to CNN Morning News. Good to have you with us.
Good morning.
I want to talk about electronic filing this morning because everybody I talk to is talking about it these days. Maybe you can explain it from your viewpoint, electronic filing.
Well, if you file your return electronically, you will receive your refund in about 3 weeks sooner than you normally would.
And how is it different from the traditional returns?
Well, normally you prepare your return on a piece of paper, you mail it off to the IRS, and it takes about 45 days to get your refund. If you file electronically, you should get your refund in about 3 weeks.
Is this something new? How long has the IRS offered this to many of its taxpayers?
Well, the IRS has been doing this since 1986. About 14 million taxpayers out of, I think, a universe of 114 million file electronically.
Does this benefit the IRS or does it benefit taxpayers? Who does it benefit?
I don't think it benefits either. One would think that the IRS would benefit, but last year the IRS was the victim of about $1 billion in electronic filing fraud.
So they're having a lot of problem with this.
That's right, and the IRS this year are holding up a lot of returns. They're checking all the Social Security numbers on tax returns that are filed electronically, including those of a taxpayer's dependent.
So is the IRS losing money on this deal?
It's hard to tell.
So why are they holding it up then?
Well, they're holding it up to make sure that all the dependents claimed, especially with regard to the earned income credit, are legitimate dependents. So taxpayers who pay a fee of anywhere from $30 to $40 to file electronically might find that this year they're going to receive their refund in 2 lumps. The portion of the refund that's attributable to their withholding they'll get right away, and then the IRS might slow up the second part of their refund that's attributable to the earned income credit until they have a chance to check everything out.
I guess the next question we should ask is how the heck do you do this? Can a taxpayer file electronically on their own, or do you need somebody to help you?
Well, you can do it on your own if you have a computer. American Online can do this for you, and I believe CompuServe can, or you can go to a firm like H&R Block. In fact, you can prepare your return on your own and take it to H&R Block, and for a fee of, I think, $30 or $35, they'll forward it on to the IRS.
And how quickly should somebody receive their money back after they filed electronically?
Within 3 weeks, as opposed to about 6 weeks. But it's not a very good deal because the average refund is about $1,300. And at a fee of about $30, that runs out to an annual interest rate of about 40%.
In this age of technology, are more Americans doing this, or are more Americans just doing it the old-fashioned way?
I think more Americans are still doing it the old-fashioned way. The IRS wants to get 80% of all taxpayers up to filing electronically in about 6 years. Right now, as I say, it's about 14 million taxpayers out of 114 million taxpayers. But the folks who are really taking advantage of it are households with a lower income because they qualify for the earned income credit. I think of the more affluent taxpayers, only about 2% are filing electronically.
Got a friend who said to me that he was going to file his taxes by telephone, by phone. Is that possible?
Yes. In a number of states in the Midwest, and California, Texas, and part of Florida, you can file by telephone if you have a touch-tone phone, but it's only a select few can do that. You have to qualify for the 1040EZ method of filing, which means that your income has to be under $50,000. You can't have more than $400 of interest income, and you have to be single.
You know, when you stop to think about it, it has to be an overwhelming aspect, the IRS. How many taxes do they actually, how many returns do they have to deal with every year?
Well, as I say, 114 million taxpayers filed, and the IRS is looking for about another 10 or 12 million who don't file. And the volume of pieces of paper that the IRS receives from banks and insurance companies reporting interest and dividends runs into the billions.
Well, David Silverman, we thank you very much, author of Taxes for Dummies. A lot of them out there. We appreciate your time. Thanks.
My pleasure.
Okay, Don.
About 17 minutes after the hour, and as we told you, job of doing your taxes. You have more options than ever before, including filing electronically. Well, joining us this morning with some tips on your taxes is David Silverman of Smart Money Magazine. He's a tax consultant and the author of Taxes for Dummies. Morning, Mr. Silverman. Good to have you join us again.
Good morning. You don't have to be so formal. Please call me David.
All right, thank you. Please call me Donna. David, April 15th, fast approaching. Should people panic?
No. People should sit down, take their tax forms out, get their tax records together, and systematically go over every line on the return to make sure they're not cheating themselves out of a deduction they're entitled to.
When you talk about people putting their records together, what are the papers that are important?
Well, your itemized deductions. If you have large medical expenses, you have to keep all your doctor's bills. And there's something new that this year. If you make a charitable contribution in excess of $250, you need a thank you note from the charity. A canceled check no longer cuts it. You should keep your receipts from the bank to show your mortgage interest, real estate tax deductions. If you take miscellaneous itemized deductions that are connected with your business, you need a good filing system. Get an A to Z file, and through the year, just drop every tax deductible item into that file. The saving those records will pay off handsomely come next April 15th.
Make it easier for you in the long run. When you talk about a thank you note for the charity gift over $250 or the other documentation that you have to keep, and after you have your return, how long do you have to keep those?
You have to keep them for 3 years. So basically, if for your 1994 return, if the IRS doesn't notify you or audit your return by April 15th, 1998, they've missed their chance, and you can start disposing of those records. We were talking about electronic filing a little bit before, and I've heard some folks talk about it, but they don't seem to think that that's necessarily the way to go. Why? Well, it costs a lot of money. Basically, you speed up the receipt of your refund by about 3 weeks, and it costs about $30 or $35 to file electronically. The IRS estimates that the average refund is about $1,300. So the average person is paying something like 40% rate of interest in order to receive their money 3 weeks earlier. The better idea, if it's a refund that you want, is adjust your withholding throughout the year so you don't have a big refund due with the IRS. Basically, you're making the government an interest-free loan, so why send the money there in the first place and then have to spend $35 or $40 to get your money back? Talking about getting your money back or having to pay in, what if somebody isn't going to make it by April 15th? File for an extension, and how do you go about that? Well, they should file for Form 4868, which is a request for an automatic extension until this coming August 15th. People shouldn't confuse filing with paying. A lot of folks say, oh, I can't pay what I owe. When I have the money, I'll file my return. Don't make that mistake, because you're going to subject yourself to an additional 25% penalty. Tax consultant and with Smart Money Magazine, David Silverman. Nice to have you join us again. Thanks so much for the information. Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
The rap music world is mourning the passing of one of its leading lights. We will look at the life of Eazy-E when CNN Morning News returns.
Rice Krispie treat?
Melba made him.
Melba made them.
Yeah, she's a hard-working gal. Took her 10 minutes.
10 minutes?
Well, she's going to get a big old kiss from me.
Run Melba.
Said they were low-fat.
Low fat, huh? Since when do you care about fat? How do you think I keep my girlish figure?
You get low-fat Kellogg's Rice Krispies treats. You get Snap Crackle Pop. What other cereal sounds so good?
Someday in the future, every car will be maintained by Precision Tube. Every brake job, oil change, and scheduled maintenance service will be performed by our skilled technicians at prices that are the envy of dealerships. All backed by our 12-month, 12,000-mile guarantee, leaving tow trucks free to spend their time on more artistic pursuits. Precision too, a lot more than tune-ups.
Take a good look through new Transitions Comfort lenses. The new lightweight plastic prescription lenses with a special tint that lightens and darkens as the light changes. The only lightweight plastic lenses that darken and lighten just like that. It's comfort you can see day or night, inside or outside. Ask for new Transitions Comfort lenses and see for yourself. They're right in any light.
I'll never go back to denture pastes or powders again.
Here's why. C-Bond Denture Adhesive. Two powerful adhesives in a soft, micro-thin seal bonds dentures to your gums. Can hold comfortably all day.
You'll never go back to pastes or powders again.
C-Bond.
Was Nicole and O.J.'s relationship filled with jealousy and rage? That's what both sides want to know from house guest Cato Kalin. Hear his story from the witness stand when CNN's coverage of the Simpson trial continues. Noon Eastern today.
Fans of gangster rapper Eazy-E are mourning his passing. Eazy-E, whose real name was Eric Wright, died yesterday in a Los Angeles hospital from AIDS complications. CNN's Brian Christie looks back on his career.
Eric Wright rose from the rough streets of Compton. He was a former drug dealer and claimed to have fathered 7 children by 6 women, and displayed a gift for bringing the sounds of the street to a suburban audience. Best known by the name Eazy-E, Wright burst out of the hood as a member of the rap group NWA. Their 1988 album, Straight Outta Compton, pulsated with the now familiar heavy beat of gangster rap and bristled with tales of